Today, we're going to be talking about taxes and mortgage pre-approval. We're going to be talking about rich dad, poor dad philosophy. We're going to be doing the real estate hot or not, and we're going to be getting into the comment section. Today, we got a special guest. We got Lisa Mays. Welcome to the Real Estate Wire, folks. What's going on, everybody? My name is Dan, the Realtor.
Mortgage Coach Marcus.
Welcome to the Real Estate Wire. Today, we got a very, very, very special guest. We got Miss Lisa Mays. What's going on, Lisa?
What up, Lisa?
Hey, everyone. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for joining. Really appreciate you jumping on the pod. I think I'm going to start saying the pod now.
Why?
I just feel cooler saying the pod.
Pod sounds cool. No, it really does.
Yeah,
it really
Sounds
does.
cool, right? It's like, yo, welcome to the pod.
The pod.
The pod.
And this is a pod.
We are in a pod,
Yeah.
shooting a pod,
Yeah.
recording a pod. Lisa, you just went meta on everybody.
I try. Thank you.
You're succeeding. Tell everybody a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Where do I start? So
Wherever you want.
I listened to this other pod, and Linda McKissick, she says, you were born and then what? You know what I mean? So I guess I'll start there. So born and raised in Los Angeles, California. And then after high school, moved to the DMV to attend HU, Howard University.
The real HU?
The real HU.
If we're not from HU, are we allowed to
HU.
say HU? We're not
Absolutely.
supposed to say,
Absolutely.
is it?
No,
Okay.
no. HU.
HU?
It's better when you say the real HU. So thank you, Mark.
So if people know it's not Hampton University?
Here's the thing.
Or Harvard?
It's definitely not Hampton.
You went to
Definitely
Harvard? You weak.
not Harvard. We're the real HU. So
Real.
yeah, so I got here in the early 2000s, and I haven't left. You know what I mean? This is like a second home to me, for sure.
So did you love it here or like just work kept you here? Like you got to the area and you fell in love?
Oh, loved it.
Really?
Loved it. I mean, it was like night and day. You know what I mean?
Because the culture in LA is different.
The culture is 1,000% different. And in fact, there's not a lot of culture. I mean,
For sure, yeah.
it's so transient, and people would argue, well, so is DC, but DC before, you had this big influx of people in and out the city. I mean, DC has its own culture. It has its own black culture, this rich, black, thriving culture that I really appreciate. And I would say that's 100% of the reason why I stayed.
Yeah.
And which brokerage are you at right now? Because you left the cool kids and now you went on the other side. I don't even know if you're allowed to even be here right now. This is kind of.
Hold on, you've had some others on this show.
I have had some
others.
Okay.
I have, but none have defected from Keller Williams though.
Look, KW was great.
Was
KW is amazing. You know what I mean? I really appreciate
we were
everything.
all personally offended by your leaving. I just wanted to let you. I took a poll. Everybody was personally offended.
So it was like just you that was on the poll?
Well, it was just me on.
You didn't ask me
yeah. No, it was just a one-person poll. That's a fact.
Is it not a poll?
I'll email it to you.
That's an opinion.
That's
a what?
That's not a poll. That's an opinion.
Yeah, straight up.
So let's get into the real estate headlines. Today, I'm super excited. Okay, I'm going to tell you. I'm super excited. I'm so excited I dropped my paper because
Why?
I'm a real estate nerd and the numbers for January, everybody, just came out. So we're going to go through these numbers together because this is really going to tell us everything that we've been talking about on all our podcasts, what's going on with the market and da-da-da-da-da. Well, we need to look in America and see what's going on. So this is from Smart Charts, and it's a app from Show and Time, and they just put out the January 2023 numbers. So let's get into the numbers. So for the month of January, should I put a drum roll in here?
Might as well. Build as we fly, right?
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's do a drum roll.
I thought you were talking.
It's the face for me.
I was wondering, yeah.
You gotta focus.
Drummers do make some ugly faces.
We do.
Yeah.
Y'all know I used to be a drummer, right?
I do know that. That was one of the videos I saw you on out there.
Cigar?
Well, okay.
You don't have
to.
Oh, you need a light?
That would be helpful.
Sorry.
I don't know how to
So I'll show
light
you.
it.
So Lisa's smoking a cigar with us in the lounge today. So what you want to do is you want to flip the top of that. You hand me that lighter?
This is the top. You
That's
just
the
gave
bottom.
it to me.
I know, I did it. So you just flip it like that.
Okay.
Now it's open, and that's your trigger there.
Okay.
It's hot. Okay. So you're gonna go ahead and put it in your mouth.
Grow up.
Childish.
I was trying to think of another way to say that.
Childish.
And then go ahead and you want to light and pull at the same time.
Light and pull. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And just keep lighting. Oh, don't inhale.
Yep.
Rule number one. Don't inhale.
All right.
Okay, try again. And you want to give it a couple express tokes, like. Yep. And then now you're on fire. You're lit.
I will say the berry flavor is coming through. It's actually flavorful.
So what are you smoking on? What are you smoking on, Lisa? That's an acid.
It says acid.
It was a blondie.
Blondie.
Blonde something.
Go ahead and pull it a couple more times so it really sets on, keeps lit and lit lights evenly all the way around.
Yeah, I just don't know if I could do this regularly.
So you're not a 3 cigar a day?
Is that you?
Individual?
Who does
Are you
that?
3?
I'm not. I do know people, like one of my mentors, he's like 3 a day. But I mean, he's a multimillionaire too, so he's like,
That's probably his day, huh?
got a lot of time. Yeah, he's got a lot of time on his hands. All right, so let's digress back into the market analysis for January 2023. So the average, I'm going to just kind of skip around. So in January, our average sold price, according to Smart Charts in Bright MLS, in January 2023, the average sold price was $635,189. In January of last year, the average sold price was $614,000, which means the average sold price in January went up by 3.35%. Now, that may shock some people because if you're a news follower, you will think that, well, the prices are going down. But purely numerically speaking, the average sold price is going up.
But based upon what we talked about last week, this is from this area. This is DC area.
This is the DC metro
area. DMV, right?
It's the area.
Which we talked about last week is a more insulated area than some of the others. Like our values, we hold value.
Exactly. And I think that's like important for people to just always remember is that real estate is hyper local. So what's going on in DC might not be going on in Oklahoma. It might not be going on in California. So it's really important to pay attention to what's happening locally rather than the news nationally.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. For sure. The average median sold price went up 0.2%. Oh, put a pin in that. I was wrong last week. Luckily we didn't bet. Because I did say 99.7, not 99.07. So, in front of the Real Estate Wire Squad, I was wrong. However, I didn't lose because I didn't bet because you was too scared to bet. So.
I wasn't scared. I knew you were wrong.
Why you ain't bet?
Because I was like, I'm sitting there like, I needed to try to get back. I need to break, get close to the 500. I'm like 0-3 right now, right?
Huh?
I'm 0-3?
Nigga, brother, you... I'm sorry, that came from the coach.
That's going to get the beat.
So egregious.
We just went over the rules. That's going to get the beat.
I'll beep it.
Okay,
I'll beat these two.
But you said that like
you're like 10-0 right now, or 0-10 actually. Like
no,
your
I'm
Redskins,
not.
Right? What y'all?
Get your mind right. No, I think it's only like 3 because they're like the spelling. No,
you want to bet on that? How many bets you've lost? You want to bet on that?
I'll bet on that.
You said 3 because I'm telling you it's more than 3.
You said 10, and it's closer to 3 than
the official bet is more than 10.
Do they do this every week?
We do this every week.
It is closer to. It's closer to 3 than it is to 10.
No, I'm not gonna take that.
No.
I'm not gonna take that bet.
Okay.
I'm not obligated to take a bet.
Now who's scared? You scared?
No, I'm not scared.
Okay.
I'm just managing my risk, mitigating.
Keep going. Keep going with these.
When I know I'm going to win.
Keep going with these smart numbers.
Days on market is up. In January 2023, we had 37. January 2022, the average days on market was like 29. So it's up 27.59%, which is to be expected. And actually, I think that's actually a really good sign that the market is stabilizing, because if we're at 15 days, average days on market, whatever it was in 2021, 37 days gives you time to think in this market.
Correct.
Can I hit you with something like on the loan side of it?
For sure.
Check this out. So mortgage applications rose up. They're up 3% in the last week, but we're down 37% year over year, right? From 2022, right? The average loan size on the purchase increased to $428,500. So that means that like some people are putting down more money, or they're applying for to purchase a smaller home now, right, or a cheaper home. And then what I was kind of excited about, in the last couple of days, that refinances like hit the market.
Yeah, what's up with that?
Wow.
Like they just spiked a little
more?
bit. Well, they just 18%. The refinance demand surged 18%, but it's still 75% lower than it was a year ago.
Is that 18% for the month or for the week or?
Week to week.
Week to week.
So week to week, 18%. So what I think is because in the last, let me see, early November, October, we were at 7%.
Yeah.
So anyone who's purchased a home September, October, November, they might have a 7% interest rate or something close to it. Well, in the last 2 months, 3 months, rates have dropped. We're in the like low sixes. So there might be a benefit there, maybe not.
Yeah.
But I think people are at least applying to see if there is a benefit.
Sure.
Maybe there's the thought that, if I'm refinancing, maybe my value has gone up, so I can, lose the PMI, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. There's a number of things.
Or maybe those people that got locked in at like 7% in November, they're like, look, it's at 5 now.
Yeah.
Well, we're not at 5 though.
Well, we're not at 5. But it's at 6.
We're in the high 5s. We went back to 6. We dropped it to 5 for like half a second.
It was like a nanosecond, and we're like in the 6.3, 6.4 now.
Yeah, I don't know if it's worth it to refinance this early.
No,
you think so?
I've talked to people. Yeah, because if you bought 6 months ago, I think that's what it is. People are soliciting business and saying, "Hey," using trigger words and marketing ploys, and just saying, "Hey, it might be a good time to think about refinancing." That person who's already sitting at 7% might be like, "Oh, let me take a look at it." So they put the application in. Oh, it can't hurt anything. Yeah. And then they come back. Well, it doesn't make sense because we can only save you $140, but you're going to pay $10,000 in closing costs,
right,
and you spent $10,000 in closing costs 6 months ago. So it just doesn't make sense.
So what are you seeing with your buyers, Lisa?
As it relates to what? Exactly.
Like they're where they are in the market, where they are in the buying process, selling process.
Yeah, I mean, I think there was that big, at least buyer pool that is a little priced out. That for sure needed to kind of reassess, just go back to the table, because with that surge in interest rates, I mean, going from 3.5 to 6.5, that's what, $1,000 jump. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot of people kind of had to kind of sit it out and reassess kind of timing into the market. And then on the seller side, the thought is, let's get the house out there. I mean, with the winter market, I think there's already an expectation that homes were going to be, taking a little longer to sell. Mm-hmm. But just in general, it's just a lot of education all around. You know what I mean? Like, gone are the days. Gone are the days. I'm absolutely tired of talking about interest rates. I'm tired of talking about like days on market. Like, gone are the days. 2020 through 2022, it's done. We're back to a normal cycle.
Be officially old enough to be saying gone are the days.
Gone are the days.
I say it so much now. Long gone are the days. I know. I'm old people now.
You are old people?
I'm 41.
Is that old people?
No.
Gotta be.
I was actually just having this conversation with a friend who's 40 this morning, and she was talking about young people music. And I'm like, whoa.
No, we're old people, Lisa.
It legitimately is a young people music.
I am not in my 40s.
You're still old people.
Yeah. No, you ain't. I'm 45.
You're old people.
I'm not.
My mouth is open.
Only old people say they're not old people. Dude, you're old. I guarantee if we bring anybody in here, any Gen Z, 15, 16, doing their TikTok dances, you're going to be looking at them like, what are y'all doing? Yep. The reason you don't recognize that you're old people is because you just hang out with a bunch of other old people.
Oh, no. So at what point do you cross over to the old people threshold?
I think it's about a few behavioral patterns. Like, the other day, like, somebody invited me out to, like, it was like a club or something. And I was like, nah, I got a whole wife and a kid. Like, what I'm going to tell her?
I had more fun at the house.
I had more fun, like, playing with my kids. So I'm like, oh, I'm old people now. Oh, I get it.
All my cousins call me old. Shout out to Rochelle.
Wow.
Rochelle Upshur. Like, calls me old man. But see, there's always a test. I'm the oldest of 10 grandchildren. So there's always a test. If we go around any family event or if we're all together, we'll just walk up to somebody randomly like, yo, who do you think is older? And it's always like she gets some votes, I get some votes. And she's younger than me.
Well, that's black people.
We don't crack per se. You for a 45-year-old man, I will say, your age is preserving itself quite well.
I appreciate it.
Well, the cool part is you could be 28 too. Like,
you could be 30.
I think that
you think I could be 28?
I'm gonna give you 28.
I see some old-looking 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
Life gets rough.
Life is hard
when
in
you
these
gray
streets,
really early. It's kind of like, dang. But you dye your hair anyway, though, right?
Don't
So
do
like
it.
you can't really see the
Don't do it.
all the gray.
If I pull you right here, you have George Jefferson. Don't do it.
Hold on, you didn't answer the question.
I don't dye anything.
I'm just saying, it looks
Don't
really
wear no
dark.
do-rag, no, none of that.
You do wear do-rag.
You're a lie. I do not.
You got me seasick right now.
I do not wear do-rag, bro. I promise
It's
you.
giving
Put your right hand to God right now. Tell me you don't.
Do-rag.
Thank you, Lisa.
The Lord knows.
I do
not wear do-rag.
Great.
I do not wear do-rag. I promise you.
You
go
just
to sleep.
woke up wavy.
I'm
I'm
brush trained.
You wake up
Oh,
swimming.
I've been brush training since the 8th grade, bro. All facts.
All right, fine. I'm gonna reach out to like some of your older
Cedar Lee
family
Junior High
members.
School, Fauquier High School, Liberty High School.
Yeah,
Anybody that knows me, Stevie.
If anybody's watching, can
y'all
we
know.
please fact check this brother?
Y'all know.
I see the wave cap line right in your forehead.
That's my wrinkles. That's hereditary wrinkle face. I promise you. No.
Well, what about the back? Turn around. Let me see the back. Let me see the wave.
Look, I can't get up right now.
I
but
can see it right here. It's a wave line.
This is not. It is not. It is not.
All right, my
Straight
fault,
brush.
cuz.
Hey, just random. So,
You
are
hate
both
it,
of your
bro.
fathers black?
Mm-hmm.
So, do your fathers brush forward or
No,
backwards?
My dad
used to
bald,
brush
but
back.
he used to brush backwards. I
Yeah.
brush
Okay,
backwards.
so my dad brushes back, and it's
Yeah.
a generational thing. Okay.
It is. Well,
Okay.
see, the thing, I had dreads for like 10 years, and I always used to put my dreads back. So I
Yeah.
used to be a down and forward, right?
Mm.
I used to be down and forward because I was
Yep.
trying to get waves. I never got waves. I tried to get waves. Didn't happen. And then I just grew my dreads out. And when I started pulling my hair back for so long, then I think the natural, like the direction of my hair started to grow after 10 years was backwards.
Gotcha.
So I just brush it backwards now.
Yeah.
Like a true old man.
All the way around.
So maybe you are old.
I mean, hey.
I am not.
You're still not even 40.
Okay,
I'm
good.
still not 40.
Okay, well, good. Once you turn 40, you're going to be old. We'll say that Lisa is not old right now. You are a young human.
Here's the thing. I'm not young. I mean, I'm just not old. I mean, if we plan to live this long life, I'm going to 100. You know what I mean?
Sure.
In the larger scheme of things, we're still relatively young.
I agree with
So
that.
I will say this though, there is such a thing as young people music. Now, I have a 26 and a 27-year-old stepchildren, right? They don't really listen to it. My stepson does listen to some of that stuff, but like when I listen, every now and then I'll like just listen to something, or like if you scroll on social media and the music associated with the whatever you're watching. Usually, the music will turn me off to what I'm watching.
Really?
It has to be something good being said on that for me to listen to be able to like hang in there, because this new generation of music, the only one that I can really tolerate is Lil Baby, but only in like small doses.
I don't know any of those people.
Right.
I don't know any of the Lils.
I don't think listening to lyrics is like the thing. Like,
But
don't
they all
listen to
sound the
lyrics.
I
same.
don't think they care about the lyrics.
They use all the same drum kits.
Yeah, they
It's
just want to hear that one little hypnotic, and I don't think we need to go into the hypnotic neural beats that they're dropping these suggestions into your brain and your subconscious mind.
Whole other podcast.
We'll talk about that on the back. Don't we got another? We got a B-roll podcast we about to start.
Yeah, but we can't say
with
it. With
all the stuff that we can't say.
Yeah, but you can't say it though.
Oh, because it's gonna be anonymous, right?
Is it Drink Champs?
No. We're gonna start an anonymous
Okay.
podcast that nobody's gonna know about, where we get to cuss. We get to talk
Ain't
all
no-
the track, like all the stuff that we edit out on
But
here.
Dan gets to cuss, but we can actually say what we want to say.
Got
I get
it.
to cuss too, right?
You can say what you want to say.
Yes.
I'm nervous.
I'm good.
That makes me nervous.
I know. It might only be one episode. It might only be a pilot, depending on...
I'm down with it. And then lastly, the average list price to sales price is that the average sales price to list price ratio is down by 2.3%. So, Lisa, what do you how are you experiencing, I guess, the difference in where you were? Because I know you switched brokers. I really want to talk about it because I've never, I don't like change per se. So, like,
Old.
thank you. See, it's coming out, right? You see it now, right?
Yeah, it's showing.
No, I'm such my ways. I got my drink right here. I got my Kobe right here. I got my slippers right here. So, like, switching brokerages,
Yeah.
changing all my numbers, my passwords, my logins, my logo, my brand. Like, come on. To me, it makes me nauseous. But I really admire that if you look at your situation and say, I think I can see something over here. Can you talk about a little bit your thought process and how you're experiencing where you are right now?
So where I'm at right now is still all very new. But I mean, I think one of the main reasons for me doing the switch was for their technology. I mean, we know a lot about, and we're saying the names, right? I think we've already said them. So,
oh yeah, I don't care.
Okay,
what yeah. What y'all gonna do?
True. Who's gonna check me, boo?
Who's gonna check me?
Well, yeah, no. So Compass, I mean, they're known for their technology, right? So their CRM, we talked about that. So just kind of leveraging and using their CRM was something that was really important to me. Their recognition, their name recognition in this area, they have a really strong hold in this area, so that was important to me. An elevated branding and marketing experience, that was important to me. And I feel like a brand in an organization like that kind of had everything that I was looking for. Mm-hmm. So that was one of my main reasons. Those were my main reasons for going on over. But it's still relatively new. So as it relates to that CRM, I'm still kind of like digging in and really trying to figure out how I'm truly going to use it for the rest of the year and the years, to come. So
where are you based out of? You're in DC? Or?
I'm in DC. I'm out of our Logan Circle office. So I'm right on for 14th.
Okay.
But I mean, real estate, we're in the streets, as a realtor, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I'm in the
How often do you go to your office?
Here's the thing. I have so I made the switch just in December, right? So I've been to the office maybe twice.
Mm-hmm. They got a big office over there. I had a couple
It's a gorgeous
over
office.
There. It's huge. It's like a warehouse.
What states are you licensed in?
All three. DC, Maryland, Virginia.
Okay.
I do a large majority Maryland, obviously the PG counties. I invest and I work with a lot of people in the Baltimore area. But then I also have a portfolio in DC and then I think Virginia is probably third on the list, right?
Really?
I might settle 1 or 3 houses in Virginia.
Why are you hating on Virginia though?
I'll be honest, I'm just not really familiar with Virginia. And my base, is not in Virginia like that.
Yeah, that's the tricky thing about being, because I'm licensed in Virginia too. I'm licensed in all 3. It's like this. If you're licensed in Virginia, you're more than likely, like if you do most of your business in Virginia, from what I've seen, they don't really do much DC and Maryland. Because
DC hardly.
Yeah, if they're purely Virginia agents, they're like, I'm not crossing the bridge. Like, I'll just refer it. But us, like DC, Maryland agents, every now we'll get a VA, and we're like, all right, sure, I'll take the drive to go, 30 minutes, 40 minutes.
The drive. That's what it is. Like I said, we're in these streets, and so going from one side of DC to the other just to get to Virginia, that's a hike.
What's the furthest you've driven for a deal?
The furthest for a deal. Shit, I don't know. I mean, I will.
I drove 2 hours.
I know. I remember you told me that, and that was like an agreement, right?
Huh?
Did you? And that was to get an agreement, right? Didn't you have to drive?
Oh no, that was a different deal. That was the sellers were in
Tappahannock,
Susquehanna,
side of Fredericksburg.
Yeah, something like that. And then so that was just for listening. No, but for a buyer, I think the furthest I drove was Culpeper.
Huh. That's 30 minutes past me. 25 minutes past me.
Yeah, it was a drive, but it was worth it.
I don't know. I mean, if I'm going south, just in that Waldorf area, right? And here's the thing, like, that one was a haze because this was just a buyer who was indecisive, right? Really picky. So it was a lot of back and forth, right? Wow. And then I would say going north, it would be the county. So Baltimore County. So, there's Baltimore City County and then there's Baltimore County. So Baltimore County, damn near by Pennsylvania. I mean, that was a lot.
Yeah, you up there.
That was a lot.
Now, I've driven to Richmond to do a loan application before.
You got to go with what they call it.
That was before like websites and all that stuff. So
I was like, why did you have to drive for a loan application?
Yeah.
But this was prehistoric. Like,
prehistoric.
I mean, you have to throwback.
I'm a dinosaur.
So I want to get a little bit more into your portfolio, but before we do, I want to get into the second real estate headline, which is taxes and mortgage pre-approval. So tell us a little bit more about that, Marcus.
You want to know about that? This scenario.
Well, yeah, you can tell us a little bit about this, but kind of like the bird's eye view.
Yeah. So taxes are usually only required when a borrower has self-employed income, commission income, overtime income, bonus income, and you're using that income to qualify them for a mortgage. And when that income represents more than 25% of what they bring home or what they make, then you need to introduce those tax returns. If a borrower, and I get it quite often, that borrowers just haven't filed their taxes. So when I ask that question, like, I need W-2s and if I need tax returns, well, I haven't filed my taxes since 2016.
Oh my gosh.
And I'm like, why? Well, I just haven't done it. I probably was going to owe or whatever. I'm like, okay. Now, again, there are some loan programs that don't even require tax returns, and we don't even need the tax transcripts. So we can, at times, navigate through that or around that. But in the event that you are a self-employed borrower and you're a realtor, you are a construction worker, you're a brick mason, plumber, landscaper, whatever, own your own business, the only way to get you qualified through a traditional lending process is 2 years of business, 2 years of personal tax returns, a year-to-date profit, loss, things like that. But luckily, you got a gentleman like myself where I can use alternate loan programs. I can use your 1099s if you get paid, contractually like that. So 2 years of 1099s or 1 year 1099, or I can use your bank statements for 12 to 24 months and qualify you off of that. There's always a way.
What about the clients that are just like regular? So, for example, I got a client who he's got a regular 9-to-5 job, but he didn't file his taxes, and so it came up.
So there have to be a reason for us to need his tax returns.
So you can buy a house if you don't have a reason to need their tax returns, that it could basically not be relevant.
When I'm asking for documents to pre-approve, I don't ask for tax returns unless I absolutely need them. So a client who's a W-2 employee who's just a salary and makes $5,000 every paycheck and it's the same thing every 2 weeks, I don't need tax returns. I'm also not asking to pull a copy of his tax transcripts. We're going to do the 4506, but
what's a 4506?
That 4506
T is cheap seats.
that's an IRS form that basically gives us as lenders the consent to grab a copy of your IRS transcripts.
So
should we need them?
What I've noticed is that lenders ask for transcripts or tax returns if you're a W-2 person, but you also have like additional income, like maybe from investments, maybe from like rental prop. You know what I mean? So that's
if you're going to use it, right? If you're going to use it, you need to qualify. And so I'm the lender that I'll ask questions until I ain't got no more questions to ask, right? Because I want all the puzzle pieces. And there's some things where like if I don't need them, I don't use them. But at the same time, like there's a fine line of over asking, because let's be honest, we're in a competitive environment, right? So if I take an application, run through the system, and I have a tight application, and the system automatically comes back and says, give me pay stub, W-2, one pay stub, one W-2, one bank statement. See, I'm giving away my sauce. Like,
give it away. Let's go.
I'm like giving away my sauce.
Give away the sauce.
How is your sauce different? How is your sauce different?
It's ragu, bro.
It's homemade. Because see, one thing I learned from one of my bosses who got 10 years more experience and a lot more volume than me in the business. And this dude was like, loan officers are lazy, right?
Oh.
Loan officers don't succeed because they don't read. And I wholeheartedly believe that. And honestly, that was me for the front part of my career. When I ran into him, so I was at Navy Federal for a second, but then after that, I ran into him. But Navy Federal required me to read and understand and study some stuff because they do it differently. But when I ran into him and started working for him, he was like, loan officers are lazy, and I don't think that you really know how to do a loan application the right way. And I was like, what you talking about? I've been in the business for a minute. He was like, let me show you. He said, what do you ask for after you get a loan application? So I said 2 years of this, 2 years of that. I went through the list. He's like, so did you read your DU? Did you read your LP?
What's a DU?
Desktop underwriting, which is Fannie Mae's.
What's an LP?
Fannie Mae's automated loan. So Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac are the two investors behind conventional loans, right? So you run your loan through DU, which is Fannie Mae's automated underwriting system. Loan application comes in, you have your documents, you submit it, and it gives you the approval or denial, right? LP is the same thing. That's Freddie Mac's. They have their loan prospecting system. So when you run it through, submit it, and it comes back in 30 seconds that says, here's all the things. Here's your preliminary conditions. If I'm asking for 2 years of all this stuff and 2 months of all this stuff, and then Joe Smith down the street, who's a loan officer, is competing for that business, that my client or our client is talking to him like, hey, I got to give all this stuff. And he's like, I don't need all of that. All I need is one pay stub and one bank statement and one W-2, and I'll make your file super skinny. So if that buyer doesn't have to give as much documentation, you can give me an approval with less stress on my part. Shoot, I ain't messing with him. I'm gonna go down the street. So read, like you read your stuff, right? And so it goes back to what my old boss said. He was like, just read it, and if it only asks you for that, and especially when in this lending environment, there's no overlays, ask him for that because that's what'll get him approved.
I just learned something. I actually thought you needed at least 2 months of bank statements, at least 2 months of,
So there are times where you do need that, but if the system is saying that, then that's what you give. Now, if you work for a company that has overlays, that company is now adding that additional month or that additional document because that's what they feel comfortable asking for and putting in their file for the audit. But Fannie and Freddie might say one of this, one of this, one of that, and move on. Sometimes there's an appraisal waiver. Y'all seen those? So the appraisal waiver might come in the system. Or day one, we call day one certainty, which kind of basically like flies your loan through the system. But that lender might say, we still go over an appraisal because we need to know. Or
is that before it gets to the underwriter? It has to be, right?
So we run DU and LP before. So before I even issue a pre-approval letter to you, I'm doing that system. Right. And any lender that's not doing that system, they're lazy. And they're messing you up. So what I'll do is application comes in, I'll look at it, pull credit, even without the loan documents, like the pay stub and all of that. I'm going to run it through the system because I'm letting the system read the credit risk. And then if the system comes back and says it's a good credit risk, now just send me a pay stub, bank statement, blah, blah, blah. Once I get that from your borrower, great. Now I send the borrower the list. They send it back to me. You got a pre-approval letter and a loan estimate within 48 hours or so. And you can confidently take them out and send them properties and go shopping knowing that that loan is already approved in the system. Right? Now, of course, you go under contract, get that back, and we might send it to underwriting. Underwriting says, great, we got all the stuff the system asked for, but here's a condition that we're going to actually need. The pay stub is old. Give me another pay stub. Bank statement is old. Give me an updated bank statement. Appraisal, title, homeowner's insurance. I need HR information. Loan's done. And you can close a loan in 17 days.
But I guess going back to what you guys were saying earlier with the taxes. That's not something you know up front.
That's my main question, which is.
But with tax,
that's the question. Like, what about those people that
they don't
have find out until the day before settlement,
and they don't have a pay stub.
$50,000.
So loan officers, you better not wait until settlement.
Well, that's the question. How do you avoid that? Because you guys don't check.
So customer transparency and honesty is always the best way.
Sure.
If something shows up on the credit report, then we have to examine that. There's also title.
But taxes don't show up on the credit report.
Sometimes tax liens do show up on the credit report.
Liens, but they don't got no lien.
Right. No lien. Right. So then so maybe something will pull up from the title company that shows.
Dude, that's happened to me 3 times.
But then there's also these other
They
systems.
owe like more than like $10,000 and like. And in order to do that, you got to do what 3? You have to get on a payment plan, right? You have to have
so
at least
FHA
3
requires a written payment plan, and then you got to make 1, 2, 3 payments.
3 payments, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So how did we get around that? I mean, like, the onus is on the lender to kind of suss that out early on, correct?
Yeah. So as much as that's that lazy part. Right?
I ask my sellers that do my clients. I ask them that during the buyer consultation.
Really?
Because I got caught out there, and I'm like, nah.
Hold on. How do you phrase this? Now, do you have it?
Them.
I mean, because here's the thing.
I have a whole presentation.
My client base is a lot of the times like my sphere. It's people I know personally, right? Mm-hmm. And so some of the things that I talk to them early on about is like I don't need to know your financial scenario, your full financial profile. I don't need to know your credit. I don't need to know how much you make. What's important to me is that you are pre-approved, and that's a conversation that I'll have with your lender. But I don't need to know those things.
I tend to disagree with that because most of my clients are a lot of sphere, and I do a lot of cold calling too. But even with my sphere, I'm like, look, I need to know everything because God forbid we get to the table and you put up $5,000, $10,000 to earn this money deposit, and then you neglected to tell me something that you didn't think was important, but that I knew was important. And then we get to the settlement table the day before, and you can't close, and you lose.
Tell you or tell the lender?
Tell me.
But okay,
because there's certain things that I'm not even going to pass to my lender if I know that he's not going to. For example, the tax.
But see, that's the thing where there are some lenders that you pass it to the lender like I can't do it. Mm-hmm. But then there's other things you tell me about. And I'm like,
it might be a lender specific thing where I go, I need you to talk to my man because he can do an income only verification. If you say, I get my money, outside of a 9-to-5 job, you know what I'm saying? And we got to make some things happen. Yeah.
And there's always loan programs.
Document only loans.
You got your ways. There's so many loan programs and so many ways to go through the process. There's a ton of steps before you get to the dead end of like, no, we just can't do it, right?
But we gotta know. Like, I think to answer your question, Lisa, or to respond to your statement rather, because, for example, I had a client that, and he might be listening. What's up, bro? He. Even though I told him don't move money, don't move money, right?
Kiss of death.
And then he decided to move the money, and I said, he goes, no, nobody told me not to do that specific thing. I'm like, okay, cool. So that was a part of that. Then became a part of my buyer consultation.
Sure.
Because I'm like, okay, I don't want that to happen again. And if it happened once, it can happen a whole bunch of times because it was something that I had told him, but I needed to reiterate it. Like,
that's fair. I get that. But whether here's the thing. I don't know. It would be nice to know, and I think it typically comes out during your discussion with or your consultation with your client. Have you had a bankruptcy or you know what I mean? Those types of things, they'll come out, right? But I don't think I need to intimately know. I don't need to know your credit score. I just need to know if you have a 640 or above. Those are the questions that I ask you.
Right. And I think it's great to have an awareness of what the client that you're working with, right? But at the end of the day, so I share what you're saying. I share what you're saying. But at the end of the day, I think you pass that on to the lender,
and
right?
Let the lender make the decision.
Yeah, let me look at it because if I'm looking at it, I'll be able to say, "Oh, this don't have a shot," or I'll be like, maybe. But don't get your hopes up, and I'll communicate with them. The same thing with the credit stuff, right? So when a person has not filed the taxes, there are times where, again, I don't even need the tax returns. I'm not even also pulling the 4506 week. They have to fill out the form, but we're not requesting transcripts for the file, right? Salaried employees, right? So you don't have to worry about that. But if someone does owe taxes, and I find out about it, now I have this thing that's sitting in my lap. What type of loan are we doing? FHA. Well, if you owe $30,000, you got to have a payment plan in 3 months payment. If you're conventional, you have a payment plan and make a payment, right, and get it going. But you cannot move forward with this tax baby sitting here because it is going the easiest thing to attach these past due taxes on is the house.
Yeah. Right.
So now, how do you find out about it? Well, there's Fraud Guard, there's Data Verify. There's a number of things that we can do in these systems that we run. Sometimes lenders wait until you get into underwriting, but I like to, again, shout out to my old boss. This joker was so type A, OCD, he would be like, if the loan, because we get burned a couple of times, and he'd say, if you get a file that's got a 640, 660 credit score, you should probably run these systems up front. Because you don't want it to bite you because usually with that credit score range shows there's something going on. You can see on the credit report. Yeah. But there's something usually on the back end, and if there's habits. Yeah, and if there's nothing on the back end, great. At least we investigate it and we know it's clean.
Yeah.
So I tend to run those types of reports up front.
Yeah.
But again, stay out my sauce.
Yeah. So let's get to the next real estate topic, which is the rich dad, poor dad philosophy. And I thought that was a very appropriate topic to talk about because we have Lisa Mays here, who has a very, 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 very. I'll take one of the berries off.
No, give me one more.
Two more berries?
He's completely
very extensive real estate portfolio. She got a lot of experience with rentals. And so I'm a fan of Rich Dad. I think I was listening to a topic one time about Rich Dad philosophy versus Dave Ramsey philosophy.
Yeah.
Where I tend to think if you're extremely risk I'll say this: if you're extremely risk excessive, if you really love taking a bunch of risk, you probably want to go with Dave Ramsey, because if you're super throw everything out to the wind and don't care, I would go with Dave Ramsey because he's more conservative. Now, if you're a very detail-oriented person, I know it's flipped. If you're a very detail-oriented person, Rich Dad philosophy is going to work really well for you, because his philosophy is all about numbers and cash flow and cash on cash return and net operating income. And right, so if you're a very detail-oriented number cruncher, Rich Dad's going to really work for you. If you're not, and you're just kind of like loosey-goosey, I would, in my opinion, Dave Ramsey is going to work for you, because it's less risky, and you're more likely to conserve some of your.
Can I translate that? So the translation for me is,
I'm in the cheap seats right now.
Rich Dad will make you or help you create wealth.
Of course.
Dave Ramsey will keep you middle class.
Really?
Absolutely.
I'm a Rich Dad guy all day.
Yeah.
But I will say, if you don't have the intestinal fortitude, if you don't have the delayed gratification and the patience and the diligence to really understand the asset class that you're looking into, you say, I'm just going to go with Rich Dad, and I'm going to, I'm tired of working my job. It's not just about that one book. Like, it's a whole.
Well, because Dave Ramsey is all about reducing debt, but we all know that you need debt, to create more wealth for yourself. You know what I mean? And Dave Ramsey will tell you all day to pay off this house, compared to folks that kind of live in this.
Let me ask you this, though. Yeah. What if, let's say, for example, I hear you. I'm playing devil's advocate, right? Because I'm on your side, but I'm playing devil's advocate. Let's say, for example, you got the average mortgage in America, what, $2,500? Or maybe on the East Coast, we'll say $2,500. Just for easy math, let's say $3,000, whatever, right? $2,000. Let's split it down the middle. Split the baby in half. $2,000 a month, right, on your mortgage, right? And you're saying, okay, I could spend the next 15 years if I want to accelerate it and pay off my mortgage.
Yeah.
Now I don't have a $2,000 mortgage that I have to pay. So couldn't you consider that $2,000 earned or passive income? If you don't have to pay that $2,000 every month, you don't have a mortgage, you have no debt on the house. Now that's $2,000 that you're not having to pay, you can consider that $2,000 in your pocket every single month. Or I could say I'm going to use a bunch of leverage, get 5 or 6 different properties, have them cash flow at $2,000 a month, right? Each.
Well, that might be aggressive. Okay.
Sure. I'm saying collectively,
yeah.
You got $2,000 a month positive cash flow, and you have five assets that are all increasing in value, that are building even more leverage exponentially.
The latter, all day for me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean,
so I think and I think your personality, my personality, Mark's personality is very similar. I'm down to have as many properties as I can possibly freaking count.
I'm risk averse, though. I am.
That's funny. I am risk averse. You are. If I think there's a spectrum, right? I think there's levels of risk adversity. Like, for example, my mother, she's 100% risk averse, right? Yeah. She's a boomer, and she's like, I'm paying. Her house is paid off. Yeah. She got her good government job.
Yeah.
She got her 80%.
The dream
of the boomers, and she sits at home and she basically just does whatever she wants to do, and she's 60.
Yeah.
So she got. So I get both sides of it. She followed the Dave Ramsey route. I've got an investment property, and then I got my main property, and I'm going to get more properties because I follow the Rich Dad philosophy. So tell us which one you're more risk adverse. I don't understand.
Well, I'm risk averse in that every deal or every scenario that I analyze, it has to make sense. You know what I mean? Because the deal is made at acquisition, right? Right. So if you haven't analyzed things thoroughly enough, right, and stress tested, thoroughly enough, then, it won't make sense. It won't make sense at all, right? So that's where I'm risk averse. Now, do I not take risk? I'm not saying that, you know what I mean? But it's very methodical, it's very thought out, and the numbers need to make sense. If they don't make sense, then I'm out.
Where do you source most of your deals?
That's a good question. I mean, I'll be honest with you. I do auctions. I mean, I sift through the MLS often. Off market, I think, is where off market and auctions. I mean, I think different years, sources are more plentiful than others. But I would say in the beginning, 5 or so years ago, it was mostly auctions and off market deals, wholesalers and such. Like HUD homes. Just
You do any like
option
flips?
I'm not a flipper. I buy and hold.
Yeah.
I'm a, so I was told that, fix and flip is quick money, and then, buy and hold is forever money. So I'm in it for the long run, the long haul,
Yeah, that's what that's what Bob talks about is the
Bob.
the difference between the flipper and the actual investor.
Yeah.
Where flipper, and when you think about flippers are way more subject to capital gains taxes.
Absolutely.
Typically they're speculating. I know a few who got caught up over the past couple of years, and they still got properties on the market that
really
they went into the $1 million flipping range, and that market pretty much dried up. If you got a $1.3 million property on the market, ain't nobody buying that right now. It's been on the market for a minute, and he's still trying to get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he talks about that flipping versus buy and hold, the short term, like we were talking about, gratification versus the delayed gratification.
Now here's the thing: I'm not opposed to flipping. I actually think that this is still a good market to flip in. You know what I mean? But again, to your point, there are certain price points where it just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? And we're just, to your point, we're not in this $1 million flipper price point. But if you could get something, acquire for like 2 or 3 or something like that,
any deal could be a good deal.
As long as the numbers make sense. That's it. Right. So you have to. And what a lot of people don't know is, I think it's important to just have really defined criteria. And sometimes your criteria might change given the scenario, but at a minimum, just kind of know what you're in for.
You have to say no more than you say yes.
And that's actually the problem. Like, what's important to me is, at a minimum, let's just pick up something at least once a year, at least, once a year. But this past year, I was doing more servicing of clients, and then we saw like in Q4, it just kind of like started to dwindle down. So as it relates to kind of like everybody's intensity in terms of purchasing and buying or selling. So that's kind of when my investor mind and mode started to kick in. So I'm analyzing
up right now, though, right?
I would like to, but I think what sparked that comment is just kind of like the hesitancy, you know what I mean? And just kind of just jumping back out there. I would like to clean up. Now's the time. I tell people all the time, like, I'm from you don't wait to buy real estate, you buy real estate and wait. So in every market, there is opportunities. And so I'm just looking for those opportunities from an investor perspective, or even from a primary home perspective. Like, there are opportunities everywhere. We just need to find the appropriate opportunity or scenario for you. You know what I mean?
always be looking. Maybe that's ABL.
Always be selling, always be looking.
Always be buying. I think a lot of times people get into the mindset, and that's why, like Real Estate Wire Squad, that's why we even created this podcast in the first place, so that you can get into the mindset of real estate. It's not just a one time, I've got my house and I'm done. No, this is the people, for all our fans, everybody that's listening, we are developing a culture of buy. I always say never sell, because why? You don't need to sell. There's no point in selling. Just hold your properties and then give them to your kids. And if you need to sell, holla at us.
Well, so the thing is, holla at us if you need to sell.
Sure.
Who do I talk to about that?
Talk to both of them.
But what I will also say, though, not everybody wants to be and has the heart to be a landlord. It's not easy, right? So I encourage everybody to invest, and I encourage everybody, to really think about, because investing is not just real estate, right? So just, buy some shit, own some shit. And I know that's a forbidden word, but that's important. Ownership matters, right? But not everybody has it to be a landlord. Not everybody wants. I mean, one of my clients right now going through it. We can't close on her, home that we're under contract for until she sells the other one.
Oh.
So and the tenants were just a headache for her. Like, I mean, it was really, really bad. I mean, thousands and thousands of dollars to get this home ready for market. So now we're holding up this one sale or one purchase because she has to get this home sold. So
she have equity in that.
Oh yeah, she has a great deal of equity. Well, it's in another state, and what's important from an investment perspective is you want to know the areas that you invest in, or at a minimum have boots on the ground. I know nothing about North Carolina, so and it's not a super deal. I mean, she's gonna get. She has a good amount of equity. It's not a deal. It's not a deal. Not every purchase is a deal.
Every deal.
Right.
Yeah. So
let's get to the real estate hot or not. Like that,
that was real cute.
We coordinated that.
That was real cute. Do it again one more time.
Let's get to the real estate hot or not.
It's so cute.
Kinda
That's for you, Lisa.
It's
in
really
living
cute.
color-ish, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like it.
really.
I mean, I really do like it. I mean,
We
you
be on the
have
phone
merch.
practicing it, like, again.
1, 2.
1, 2, 3.
Yeah, I love
it's
it.
a whole thing.
Marcus ain't here for it.
So in the real estate how to not, I want to do another would you rather because I love would you rather. But the rules are you just got to say the first thing that comes to your mind. No thinking. Ready? All right.
Hold
To
on,
you,
no.
Lisa.
Hold on. Oh,
Yes.
to me. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, we're
Okay.
going to do a round robin.
First.
I'm ready.
Guess always first, right? So, Lisa, would you rather go into the past and meet your ancestors or go into the future and meet your great-great-grandchildren?
Oh, I had a forbidden word to say, but I would love to meet my ancestors. Yeah.
Same.
Yeah.
I'm always different than everybody else. I want to meet my great-great-grandchildren.
Contrarian.
I'm always a contrarian. Or maybe you guys are the contrarians. I flipped that. Next, would you rather have more money or more time?
Ooh. Me first.
Yeah. That's all.
So I'm gonna go with time because money, I can like make money, right? But time, I guess. Well, that's the very nature of the question, right? I get more time, huh?
Yeah. What if you can't make any more money?
Ooh. I mean, let's get the bag then. I'm here for a good time, not a long time. Let's get the bag.
Get the bag.
I value time though. I just do want to preface that. Like time is really, really important, which is the motivation for everything I do is to have more time. But if I could have, geez, what would you say, Mark?
What do you think, Coach?
Man, that's a good one. Sometimes I feel like if I had more time, I'd be thinking I'm a thinker and processor, and I'd just be stuck, and I might not be able to do what I do. But at the same time, I might be able to use the time to make more money and create more opportunities. But give me the money. I think
you get $10 million, boom, you die tomorrow. Over. I'll take the time, man, because I don't need a lot of money. I'm good. I love money, and I like having a lot of money, but
I normally would say time, but
I'll say time because it's like I get $10 million and I die tomorrow, then like I can't spend it. But if I live to 100 and I ain't got no money, then it's a crappy life. But at least I'm alive. I get to see my kids and
Do you guys want to live that long?
To 100?
Yeah.
It depends on the condition. Like if I'm I'm like, yo, just pull the plug, yo, just let me go.
Yeah.
But if I'm still, if I get described as spry, I'll stick with it.
Yeah. I mean, imagine though, like living that long and just seeing kind of like how the world, because the world can be tough, right?
Yeah.
So, but anyway, we're going to go down that route.
It's a little bit more like, I think we're saying, this is another reason why I know we're old people now.
Oh, no.
Because
not with this.
This is a crazy, it's kind of a head spinner, but the longer you stay alive, the more people you're going to see die.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy because I'm starting to see more people die. And I remember when I was a kid, you never saw anybody die. Like one or two people, or you randomly go to a funeral, you're like, oh, I don't know this person.
Yeah.
But now, like, the people that are dying are us, like our friends and our family. We're like,
we are not dying.
Well, my brother just died. So I'm like, oh, we die. Like real people die. So it's like, and my grandmother, my little grandma who's like 4'8", that lady's like 90s. We don't even know how old she is. She's like 96 or 97, but we're not sure because she doesn't remember the year she was born. And she came from the age where they didn't really do accurate birth certificates, and there was like some weird thing with her mother having her, but she wasn't supposed to, and then they like covered it up and took a year off her birth or something. It's a whole black people thing. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, she's seen a lot of people just keep kicking it. My aunt, my cousins, and she's still just like.
And when you say spry, I mean cut you off, but
cut me off.
I want to be able to take care of myself still. Like I don't want to be, I don't want to be like hunched over and can't do anything. And I want my mind to be clear. Mm-hmm. I want to be able to like still like do things. I don't need to drive, whatever. But at the same time,
please
I still
don't drive when you're old.
Dude, my next door neighbor, she was demented, and her husband next door he got moved into a nursing home, and she also got moved into a nursing home. She used to walk up on my lawn and like knock on our door. She was like demented, and she didn't even know that I owned the house. Like she saw my brown skin, she was like, "You live here?" And I was like, I think I do. I pay for what I'm paying the mortgage every month. Her name was Miss Norma, I remember.
Okay.
And she was old, boy.
Those with dementia are called demented.
Yeah. I mean, dementia is
because I know there's a nurse in that, so I'm not going. I'm not.
No,
going
of course, dementia is dementia is a symptom. The cause could be anything.
But I'm saying you said demented, so I was like, is demented a word?
Well, yeah, it's the. I guess it would be the noun form or the adjective form of dementia.
Don't do the English thing, bro.
I
read books.
That's a subject
She was
I
demented.
hated.
She had dementia.
Okay.
As a result of having Alzheimer's, I believe she had Alzheimer's, and her husband had Parkinson's, and he used to drive. He was like 90-something years old, and he getting his little red pickup truck.
Yeah.
The keys.
And I'd be like, which way are you going? Because I'm going to go the opposite way.
What else is hot or not?
Last hot or not? Would you rather... Oh, man, this is tough. Would you rather lose your vision or lose your hearing?
Oh, boy.
Where did you get this from?
The people want to know.
Jeez Louise. Marcus, you go first. I got to think.
I wonder who Louise? Who's Louise? Oh, I feel sorry for Louise.
I love music so much, but I'm such a visual person. Like,
if somebody smacked you in your face, you wouldn't be able to see it coming.
But I would. I think I can still feel music, right? Yeah. So I think, okay. So I take my hearing, don't take my vision. I need.
Yeah, I would agree. Don't take my vision. Like I'm
too nosy. I want all of it.
I want to see it. I'm too nosy.
Yeah, I think I'm with y'all because I think eventually, if I lost my hearing, I kept my vision, I could learn how to read lips.
Yeah, and sign. I took sign language in like freshman year of college.
You know sign language?
No, I took
sign language.
I took a class.
This is all the sign language I know.
That's
I know
fun.
A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I.
That's really good.
J, K, L, M, N, O, P.
I think it turns down.
That feels a little sus. Q. Now this is the thing with sign language to me because this is R, right?
No,
and this is Q.
That's R.
This is R. This is Q.
I believe so.
Q, which doesn't make sense to me because this looks like an R. I would think this would be an R. This would be X, but this is R. This is Q.
I could be wrong too.
No, we're right. This is because
we're right.
We're right. Yeah. It's our podcast. We're right. We're right. What do you think, Lisa? You don't remember from your class?
She just said no.
Absolutely no.
I guess it's like when you take Spanish in high school and you just like don't even remember any of it.
Speaking of lip reading, y'all ever seen that page called the bad lip reading page?
Yeah.
I get weak off of that, man. I don't know what they're saying, but it's so funny. Check it out.
I will. Instagram.
So we're gonna wrap it up here. I got one more question for you, Lisa, before we let you get on your way to closing deals and buying multifamily buildings and rental properties and building your wealth. What do you see? Where do you see real estate and the role of real estate agents in the next 20 years?
In the next 20 years?
Yeah.
Ooh. Well, technology is gonna be out of here in 20 years, right? But I still think that people value having a real life conversation and being able to see and touch someone and know, like, and trust. That is what every buyer, seller wants, right? So I just don't think that technology is going to do a sufficient job of replacing us. And they might try to make a go at it. Some type of AI might try to make a go, but I think that real estate agents will still be very relevant in 20 years. Mm-hmm. That's my hope, at least, right? Because I plan to be in the game in 20 years. Yeah. So, I don't know. AI is a thing.
Yeah.
Technology is a thing. But I still believe that real estate, we need to feel somebody and touch somebody and have a conversation. Absolutely.
Yes. It's the care and concern. These are still people living in homes and families, and generations come from, future generations come from somebody in a certain generation taking action. But I think that the emergence of AI and other technologies, I think those are only geared towards some people having opportunities to build wealth in a different space. I think the emergence of so if you think like the NFTs, your crypto. I said you posted something about NFTs are dead and
dead. NFTs are dead. Did you get into that Ponzi scheme?
No.
Yeah, all the different
babies and pogs and all that.
All these different
baseball
things.
cards.
Yeah, I got a lot of basketball, football.
I do too. I thought they were going to be worth something, and now they're not worth anything.
Some of mine.
We were serious about baseball
You still got
cards.
yours?
Yeah, heck yeah, I do. I thought they were going to be. That was my investment. That was my retirement plan when I was 11.
You have them here? You got
No, they have my mom's house.
You better get them.
Why?
Because they like at the right time. Like some of the cards that no, real talk. Look, I know you're looking at me sideways. That's how my mom used to look at me. I spent my whole paycheck on the bank.
Did you fall for the susus too? Were you getting the susu? You didn't get nobody in the susu?
I did do the susu.
I don't even know what that is.
How'd that work out for you?
It was lit and then it dried up quickly. It just dried up quickly. It was fun. It was something to do during the pandemic.
It was something to do. I never got. Everybody was trying to get me into it. Oh man, I know you're making money, man. You got to get into this susu. So basically, let's say we do it. Oh, you never heard of susu? Yeah, it's okay. So the susu was basically, all right. Let's say us three. We're gonna create our own susu. What they would do during the beginning of the pandemic, everybody was kind of. I won't say taking advantage of other people.
Pooling money.
Yeah, they were pooling money.
Like,
and so we all put in it's a flower. Right, exactly.
Yeah, that junk got me.
And you
too.
put it in. Oh, you got it there? Yeah, that junk got me.
Yeah.
I still ain't gotten to the water yet.
Yeah, you ain't get the water.
I was a cloud. I got close.
You got the cloud, but you didn't get into the.
I never got into the middle.
Wasn't it like a legitimate thing? Didn't it at least start off like
so
back in
the
the day?
way that they work, how I've heard it, because I heard about susus before they became a thing. One of my clients, she's Jamaican or from Anguilla or Jamaica, one of the islands over there, and her family does like legit susus, and everybody does. They don't bail on each other, and everybody uses the susu to buy property. And I've sold her property. I sold her daughter property. She has property over in Silver Spring, and everybody, and they all do, and they'll have like $15,000 for each person that use as a down payment or for whatever. And she's been doing it for years.
I think conceptually, right? It could be,
yeah.
But when you're dealing with hundreds of strangers, it gets.
But see, so like that part of it was like super abstract, and like I know that I probably got wrapped up because I was a friend of mine, whatever they got me in, whatever.
How much?
I'm not telling you.
How much they get you for?
I'm not telling you how much of an idiot I was.
10,000?
No. I didn't.
100?
I didn't drop that. It was like one time, like I just put my toe in it. It was like $100, and I was like, let me see, and it said I'd get back like $400 or something. And then another one was like, I think I did the 500 drop like a couple times, and 500 would give me like $4,000 or something. It was something crazy. But I do know folks that got like put 10 grand in and he got like 50 grand back or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
But there's other cultures that do this. Like I feel like it's like the Jewish community does it like hardcore. The Asian community does it hardcore. The Hispanic community, there's some Hispanic pockets that might do it. Because when you see these businesses pop up, they do it to buy businesses and homes, and they help their circle. And when I was reading on it, there was like people were making apps for it and all this other stuff during the pandemic. And I was reading it, and there was some other articles about it. And of course, it said that all these other people groups do it. And then it was talking about why we as African Americans struggle, like, because we always are super critical of what it is because somebody gets in it and doesn't do their part. And but if people would do their part, it would work for us. I mean,
that was my main thing. Like,
was the pandemic susu like just amongst our community?
I don't know. I think so. Probably.
Really?
I think so.
But I do know this. I never had anybody else from any other community ask me about it.
Yeah.
Neither have I.
I don't want to admit it.
You said you don't want to?
I don't want to admit it, but you might be right. I don't know.
Truth hurts.
Yeah.
So, thank you guys so much. Lisa, thank you for jumping in on our podcast. This concludes episode 12 of the Real Estate Wire. If you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to our channel. And watch the previous video, episode 10, because we're dropping some nuggets on there. Episode 11, episode 10, 987654321. Check out all the episodes. Lisa, where can they find you?
MarieMaysProperties.com. That's my website. Feel free to email me. Contact Lisa Mays at themazesteam.org. Lisa M at themazesteam.org. I'm around. This was fun, guys.
Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you for having
me. Where can they
me.
find you, Coach Marcus?
At Mortgage Coach Marcus on all social platforms. And I'm out here trying to serve the people.
And I am Dan Wheeler, sells homes on all platforms. For all of us here at the Real Estate Wire, we thank you guys so much. We are out. yourself.
Bye.
All right. Thank you, Lisa. That was it.
Okay.
That was good.
That was good, real good.
Oh, it wasn't recorded.
It wasn't recorded.
No, we gotta do the whole thing over again.